Welcome to Daily Bread. As always, this message is timeless, which means whenever you find this message, or whenever this message finds you, is when you're meant to see it. The energy's already been cleared. Let's get started. Let's start by asking Source, what's the energy we need to focus on for this message? Source, what is the energy we should focus on for this message? Source, what is the energy we should focus on for this message? Source, what is the energy we should focus on for this message? Please take what resonates and leave the rest for someone else. Take that. Surrender. So what I'm seeing right now is Source is telling someone that you are kind of struggling against the current of where Source is trying to take you right now. So if you are in a place right now and you are experiencing like irritability with something about your daily routine, like you're irritable and you don't know why, or you're feeling depressed and you don't know why, or you're feeling out of sorts and you don't know why. When you are in those situations, like Source is telling, or you're feeling like suspicious or you're overthinking a lot of things, Source is trying to tell you something and you may be resisting to make a change in some area in your life. So Source is saying surrender to change. So Source is asking you to go inside yourself right now and just make it quiet and just hear what your needs are, what you are hearing, your wants and desires, what your spirit is trying to tell you that it really needs, because what it needs is a change. And when we are not in a state of listening to our spirit inside, it will find a way to speak up. And it usually comes through emotions. So sometimes your emotions are a response to things that are going on in your subconscious or from observing things in your conscious state. And then you're processing that in the back of your mind. And then your spirit is like, okay, I'm ready to make a change on something. And when we are not focused on being able to hear what our inner needs are, or when we don't prioritize what our inner needs are, and we fight against that tide of what's coming at us, or we try to push it down, it will come out in other ways. So if you're in that kind of a state, or you've experienced anything like that, yeah, that's the sign that, you know, there's a change that needs to be made, and Source is asking you to surrender to the reality that a change is coming. So let's dig into surrender a little bit more with the tarot. Again, please take what resonates and leave the rest for someone else. Go ahead and press that like button, please, and go ahead and, share with someone or follow. Source, tell us more about surrender. What messages are you trying to get us to understand right now from our spirit? Go. I usually only do 3 cards, but these 2 felt like they were coming out together, so I'll take them. So what I have is the 4 of Pentacles and the 9 of Wands. We also have the 7 of Cups. And we also have the Knight of Cups. All right, yeah, so right off the bat, what I'm seeing is somebody is right on the other side of something. You've been through a lot in your life. Maybe you've had a couple of relationships go wrong that were important to you, and you also maybe had some traumas that happened to you in your past. On top of that, somebody has had wounds on top of wounds is what I'm seeing. And you have been in survival mode. And now that you are starting to see a horizon from this, the night feels like it's starting to fade away. That stuff is behind you. You have become so accustomed to living in this survival mode that the changes that are necessary are asking you to, someone has been feeling very comfortable in this 4 of Pentacles energy. So someone has been for most of their life has had to save and minimalize. And I'm not talking about like, oh, you get the generic cereal instead of the name brand cereal. I'm talking about somebody has been like Do I, pay for my bus fare to get back and forth to work? Or do I buy food? And so someone has been in those kinds of states of poverty, and you've learned how to save your money. And on the other side of this, I see someone who's found out that they have a little bit more resource than they thought they did because you were guarding your resources so well. Even the ability to guard your resource is a resource. So I see someone who, even though you've been through a lot, you're sitting on some resources and skills, and you're timidly stepping out into the world now. So what Source is asking you to do with these changes is really you have a lot of options. So in the past, you've had some good choices and some not so good choices and some even worse choices. But now you have opportunities where, even from this injured state that you're coming out of, you feel like there are options for hope. And that's probably what's creating this dissonance. It's probably what's creating this unrest in you, is because your emotions are starting to feel like, oh, there is hope. There are ways for me to continue to move forward. I don't have to be stuck in these vicious cycles all the time. I can get out of this. And how does that happen? That happens based on the choices that you make. Simple choices like, do I respond to this text or do I block this person? Do I respond to this message or do I take a minute and respond to it in 30 minutes or an hour when I'm not in my heightened state from the original response that I have? So someone is learning how to sit in their water, which means sit in your emotions without being completely washed away by them. So yes, so this surrender is that I'm seeing is you're starting to learn how to experience your emotions without being completely dominated and controlled by them. So you're coming out of the water a little bit and not being completely swept away with the current, which is awesome. So what I'm seeing is someone has the options now. You really want to make sure that when you make choices, there are ways that you can bring yourself up and elevate yourself that, are that have ethical obligations or concerns to it, good, bad, or indifferent. And enough to be able to say and really evaluate, okay, this is a way for me to make a come up, but is it ethical? Okay, this is a way for me to make a come up, and it'll take some work and some planning. And even when you say that, it might still be, okay, maybe that's a little bit unrealistic right now, but maybe if I have another skill that I can develop and I know this person and I can get into this thing and I can go to the library, I can look at these free resources through my city's website or my state's website or my country's website, and like the official ones. And listen, there's always resources out there. So someone is looking for help, and I see you're about to find it. So with this Knight of Cups, I see that someone is about to receive an incoming offer of closer intimacy, and this could be in the form of friendship. And this could be in the form of a business relationship. So when I say intimacy, I don't necessarily mean romantic. It can be, but intimacy is deep. So intimacy is more than just snuggling and cuddling. Intimacy is a level in a relationship where you feel comfortable sharing certain levels of vulnerability because the trust is there to know that that vulnerability will never be compromised or manipulated. So that is what it means to be intimate with someone. And that is a very precious space. And I see someone who is about to get more of these intimate relationships. For you to be your more authentic self, you're going to have opportunities so when you have more intimate relationships, in those relationships, it will be easier for you to be who you are and roll up your sleeves a little bit and not be afraid of what your past was or where you've been. And I see someone who is about to become a completely different version of themselves, because now you see that you have the choice of where you go. And regardless of where you've been, I see maybe someone who has spent some time behind bars, and for whatever reason, good, bad, or indifferent, your life is now where you are. And you are having the option and oh man, I see someone on the other side of a lot of really tough stuff, but I am seeing a lot of really great stuff coming for you, because Source is going to send you opportunity. Source is about to connect you with people who don't care about some of these things that are irrelevant and things that are influenced by things besides what our own actions are. So for example, wherever you are, I see a minority woman. I see I see plenty of women of color actually, and I see plenty of ethnic diversity in this reading, in which people are being, maybe you've experienced some discrimination based on your gender, your ethnicity, your sexual orientation, and like, I mean, you name it, you have been marginalized in some way, and you have been conditioned to see yourself as marginalized. And this is what Source is trying to get you to surrender to. Source is trying to get you to surrender to the reality that you are not marginal by any means at all, because you are an ocean. So I just want you to understand Source is ready to fill your cups. So just pay attention to the choices that you get to make now. And remember, you respond to offers of intimacy by evaluating, are they coming from the right place? And it's okay for you to take your time. And you're about to see you're about to see, when you build these more intimate relationships, you're going to see an impact on your money. You're going to see an impact on, obviously, your relationships, romantic or platonic. And you're just going to start carrying yourself better, because you're going to start realizing what you nurture, you can nurture in healthy ways, and you can start to really run with that. So let's get one more card from the Oracle. And remember, take what resonates, leave the rest for someone else. If it is resonating, go ahead and press that like button, comment, follow, share with someone you know. And let's say, Oracle, please give us one more card, an action or an advice that we can use in embracing the surrender into more potential and more possibility in our lives. And we thank you in advance for it. We'll take both of them. I love it. I told y'all. Breathe. Peace. So yeah, Source is trying to tell someone, it's okay for you to be where you are. Be at peace with it. You are exactly where you need to be. You need to be exactly where you are. You are divinely timed and shining brightly. You are a blessing manifest, is what Source is trying to tell someone. So whenever you are starting to feel overwhelmed in your water, breathe. As a matter of fact, if you're starting to feel overwhelmed by your emotions, Source is telling someone, start to imagine a waterfall, like all around you, like a bubble, a waterfall, and let that waterfall wash away all of the emotions that aren't yours, and have that waterfall calm and soothe the fire burning of any hot emotions that you're feeling at the time. And any hot emotion can even be sadness, anything that is actively disrupting your emotions, the stillness. Breathe, bring peace to yourself, and focus on bringing peace to your relationships, even with people who you may not necessarily like or agree with, having them give them the space to exist in their reality, and keep your boundaries intact to exist in your reality as well. So, I mean, so I see someone who's going to learn to live in better harmony with themselves and the world around them. And I see more peace in your life, more peace in your relationships, more peace in your home. And listen, someone has been really wanting peace, and I am so happy for you, for the peace of mind that you're about to get. I see someone who's about to start sleeping better. I see someone who's staying hydrated. Yeah, I see a lot of really good things for you. So this is your reading. Thank you for tuning in today, and I will see you next time.